Babe, we have finally made it.
So they think they are the only ones blessed. I will show them humility.
In every church, there's that one woman. You know the one. She's always at the front during praise and worship, her voice louder than everyone else's. She's at every funeral with food, at every wedding with an envelope, at every harambe with a generous contribution. She knows everyone's business, everyone's struggles, and everyone's secrets. They called her Mama Praise. And in the rapidly growing town where this story takes place, a town where old traditions clash with new money, where matatus race past ancestral lands, where people build mansions but still consult Manganga at night, Mama Praise was a pillar of the church. But here's what nobody knew. Mama Praise had a rule. Never refuse her when she asks to borrow something. Not your phone charger, not your pen, not your headscarf, because whatever you lent her, you might get it back, but you'd never be the same. This is a story that many Kenyans will recognize. Maybe not the exact details, but the feeling. That moment when you realize the person praying for you the loudest might be the same one working against you in the dark. To understand what happened, you need to understand who Mama Praise was in that community. Her real name was Clara, but nobody called her that anymore. She'd earned the name Mama Praise because she was always the first to start the praise and worship, always the one dancing the hardest, always the one who could pray for 2 hours straight without stopping. She ran a successful beauty salon called Blessed Hands, right next to the main stage stop. Every woman in town got their hair done there at least once. The salon was always full, not just because Mama Praise was good at braiding, but because she made you feel seen. She remembered your children's names. She asked about your husband's job. She gave business advice. She prayed over you while doing your hair. Mama Praise is anointed, people would say. That woman has a direct line to God. She was in her late 40s, always dressed impeccably in Ankara print dresses and matching head wraps. Her salon was painted bright yellow with Bible verses on every wall. Jeremiah 29-11, Philippians 4:13, Psalm 23. She played gospel music from morning to night. Bahati, Guardian Angel, Mercy, Masika, on repeat. But Mama Praise had a secret practice, something she'd learned years ago from a manganga in a distant town during a time in her life when she was desperate and struggling. The mganga had taught her something powerful. Personal items carry a person's essence, their sweat, their energy, their destiny. If you could borrow something that belonged to someone, especially something they wore close to their body, you could use it to access their spiritual path. At first, Mama Praise told herself she'd only use it for good, to help people, to pray more effectively for them. But power is a strange thing. It changes you slowly, like water eroding stone. And somewhere along the way, Mama Praise began to believe that she had the right to decide who deserved blessings and who needed to be humbled. She had a special room in her house. Not a prayer room, though, that's what she called it. Inside were shelves with plastic containers, each one labelled and dated. A headscarf borrowed from Sister Jane. A phone charger from Brother Tom. A sweater from Pastor's wife. And inside each container, those items were wrapped in red cloth, surrounded by salt, mirror pieces, and soil from a crossroads. Mama Praise kept them like trophies, like insurance policies, like little pieces of power she could activate whenever she felt someone was getting too proud, too blessed, too happy without acknowledging her role in their success. People like Faith. Faith Wambui was 29 years old and had just gotten everything she'd ever prayed for. After 3 years of casual contracts and temporary positions, she'd finally been confirmed for a permanent and pensionable government job. Not just any job, she was now working at the county headquarters with a salary that made her mother weep with joy. Her husband, Martin, had also been promoted to supervisor at the logistics company where he worked. For the first time in their 5-year marriage, they weren't struggling. They moved from a bedsitter in the estate to a modest 2-bedroom apartment. Faith bought a small second-hand Nissan March. Nothing fancy, but it was hers. She started dressing better. Not expensively, but nicely. Her hair was always done. She wore light makeup. She posted pictures on her Instagram, just normal pictures of her life, her small victories, her gratitude to God. Faith was also a faithful member of Mama Praise's church. She sang in the choir, attended every Keisha, and never missed a Sunday service. She genuinely loved Mama Praise and saw her as a spiritual mother. One Saturday afternoon, Faith went to Blessed Hands Salon to get her hair braided for a family wedding. Mama Praise was in a good mood that day, laughing and gossiping with the other women in the shop. The radio was playing Ohangla music. The smell of hair products filled the air. Everything felt normal. "Faith, my daughter," Mama Praise said while sectioning her hair, "I've been seeing your posts. New car, new house. God has really blessed you." "Yes, Mama," Faith replied, smiling. "After so much struggle, finally things are moving. And that job at the county? They're paying you well?" "It's okay, Mama. Not rich, but we can breathe now." Mama Praise's hands paused for just a second in Faith's hair. "You know, my niece has been looking for a job. Maybe you can talk to your bosses? Pull some strings?" Faith shifted uncomfortably. She'd barely been confirmed herself. She had no influence yet. "Mama, I'm still new. I don't have that kind of power." "Ah, it's okay. It's okay," Mama Praise said quickly, but her voice had gone slightly cold. "I understand. Some people forget where they came from when God elevates them." "No, Mama, it's not like that. I said it's okay, Faith. Let me finish your hair." The rest of the appointment was tense. The laughter had stopped. Mama Praise's hands were rougher than usual as she braided. Faith left feeling unsettled, but she told herself she was being paranoid. What she didn't see was what happened after she left. Mama Praise had been strategic. While braiding Faith's hair, she deliberately tugged out several strands and collected them in a tissue. But that wasn't enough. She needed something more personal. "Faith!" Mama Praise called out just as Faith was getting into her car. "You forgot your sweater." Faith looked confused. "That's not my sweater, Mama. I didn't come with one." "Oh!" Mama Praise laughed, holding up a brown cardigan. "My mistake. These old eyes. Must be one of the other customers." But it wasn't a mistake. 2 weeks later, at a church harambe for a sick member, Mama Praise approached Faith again. "Faith, my phone is about to die. Can I borrow your charger? Just for 30 minutes. Then I'll return it." Faith hesitated for only a second, just a flash of instinct telling her to say no. But how do you refuse Mama Praise? How do you say no to the woman who prays for everyone? Sure, Mama. It's in my car. Mama Praise's smile widened. God bless you, my daughter. That charger was never returned. When Faith asked about it weeks later, Mama Praise claimed she'd given it back. Maybe you forgot it somewhere else? You're always so busy now with your big job. That night, Mama Praise went to work. In her prayer room, she lit 3 white candles and spread out the items on a white cloth. Faith's hair strands, the phone charger, some soil she'd collected from a crossroads at midnight, salt, and pieces of a broken mirror. She wrapped everything in red cloth, binding it tightly with black thread, while whispering words, not prayers, but something older, something she'd learned from the Munganga years ago. Words in Kikuyu mixed with something else. Something that made the candlelight flicker. Faith Wambui, daughter of whoever you are, your paths are now in my hands. What you've built, I can shake. Where you walk, you will stumble. What you have, you will question. Until you remember that blessings come through me. She buried the bundle in a clay pot filled with soil from 3 different crossroads, then placed it on her shelf with the others. She'd done this ritual dozens of times. It always worked. Not immediately, never immediately, but slowly, like poison spreading through water. The effects started within a week. Faith's car, the Nissan March she'd been so proud of, developed a mysterious problem. The engine would die in the middle of traffic. 3 mechanics looked at it. None could find the issue. It would work fine for days, then die again at the worst possible moment. She spent money she didn't have on repairs that didn't fix anything. Then her husband Martin started coming home late. He became distant, irritable. They'd never fought before, but suddenly they were arguing about everything. Money, chores, his mother. Things that had never been problems before felt insurmountable. At work, Faith started making small mistakes, missing emails, forgetting meetings. Nothing huge, but enough that her boss started giving her concerned looks. The confidence she'd built over her first 3 months was crumbling. Worst of all, she couldn't sleep. Every night she'd have the same dream. She was walking, but her feet were stuck, like she was trying to run through thick mud. And somewhere in the darkness, she could hear someone laughing. Faith lost weight. Her hair started breaking off despite all the expensive treatments. Dark circles appeared under her eyes. At church, people whispered, "What happened to Faith? She was doing so well." And Mama Praise? She was always there, visiting, bringing food, offering to pray. Her prayers were long and loud. Devil, release her! Witchcraft scatter! Generational curses, break! But the more Mama Praise prayed, the worse things got. Because she wasn't casting out demons, she was the demon. Faith's mother, a sharp woman from the village who'd seen too much in her lifetime to be easily fooled, came to visit after hearing about her daughter's troubles. She spent 3 days watching Faith's life fall apart, watching her daughter barely function, watching her son-in-law become a stranger. On the 4th day, she said, "Faith, we need to go see someone." "Mama, I'm a Christian. I can't." "Christianity doesn't mean being stupid," her mother said firmly. "There's a difference between going to seek power and going to find out who's working against you. Even in the Bible, when the Israelites faced Balaam's curse, God revealed it so they could fight it. They drove 2 hours to a small town, to a homestead where an old woman lived. Not a mamganga in the traditional sense, but a spiritual discerner, someone who could see what others couldn't. Many Kenyans know of such people. They exist in that grey space between Christianity and traditional knowledge. The old woman took one look at Faith and sighed. Someone very close to you, someone who pretends to love you, someone whose hands touched your head. She paused. Do you have anything you borrowed recently? Or lent? Faith's mind raced. Then it hit her. My phone charger. I lent it to someone at church. She never returned it. The old woman nodded slowly. That's your problem. As long as she has something of yours, your path is locked. You need to get it back. Or, she paused, you confront her publicly. Shame has power too. Darkness hates light. Faith's mother asked the question that was burning in both their minds. Who is it? The old woman described her. A woman always in bright colours. A woman who prays loudly. A woman who works with beauty, hair, appearance. A woman who everyone trusts. Faith felt her stomach drop. Mama prays. The church had scheduled a 3-day Kesha, an overnight prayer event that would run from Friday night to Sunday morning. These Keshas were massive events. People brought mattresses, blankets, food. The church would be packed with hundreds of people praying, worshipping, and seeking breakthrough. Faith decided that's where she would confront Mama Praise. Not in private where it could be denied, but publicly where truth would have power. On Friday night, the Kesha started at 10 p.m. By midnight, the church was in full swing. The worship team was leading songs. People were on their knees, crying out to God. Mama Praise was at the front as always, dancing, shouting, leading prayers. At 2 a.m., during a brief lull, when the pastor called for testimonies, Faith stood up. Her legs were shaking, but her voice was clear. I have something to say, she announced. The microphone was brought to her. Hundreds of eyes turned her way. Mama Praise stopped dancing. 3 months ago, God blessed me with a job, a home, a small car. I was grateful. But then everything started falling apart. My car broke down constantly. My marriage started crumbling. I started failing at work. I couldn't sleep. I was dying slowly. People were listening intently now. This was the kind of testimony that could go either way toward deliverance or toward scandal. I went to seek wisdom about what was happening to me, and I was told that someone close to me, someone I trusted, had taken something of mine and was using it to lock my destiny. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Mama Praise's face went pale. Faith turned and looked directly at her. Mama Praise, where is my phone charger? The one I lent you 3 months ago at the Harambe? The church went silent. You could hear the generator humming outside. Faith, my daughter, I told you I returned it. You didn't. Faith's voice was stronger now. And I know you have it, along with my hair, and probably items from many other people here. This is witchcraft accusations. Mama Praise shrieked. You can't accuse me. Then prove me wrong, Faith said calmly. Let us go to your house right now. Let the pastor and elders come. Let us see this prayer room you always talk about. If I'm lying, I'll apologize before everyone. But if I'm right, the crowd was murmuring now. Some defending Mama Praise. Others remembering strange things, items they'd lent her that were never returned. How people she prayed for often got worse. How she always seemed to benefit when others failed. Pastor stood up, his face grave. This is a serious accusation. Mama, Praise, will you allow us to visit your home? Mama Praise looked around at the crowd, at the faces that had once adored her, at the power slipping through her fingers like water. She ran right out of the church into the night. She didn't even grab her handbag, just ran. The pastor, elders, and several church members, including Faith, went to Mama Praise's house that night. They had to break the lock on the prayer room because she'd taken the key with her. What they found made everyone sick. Shelves upon shelves of plastic containers, each one labelled with a name, a date, and what was inside. Phone chargers, pieces of clothing, hair, jewellery, handkerchiefs, even children's socks. Inside each container, the items were wrapped in red cloth, surrounded by strange mixtures, salt, mirror pieces, soil, feathers, coins. Some containers had photos with faces scratched out. Others had handwritten notes with instructions in Kikuyu. May they remain poor. May they stay sick. May they not rise. They found Faith's phone charger and her hair, wrapped together with thorns. They also found a notebook, a ledger, where Mama Praise had documented everything. Who she'd targeted, why, what she'd prayed over them, how long their suffering should last. It read like a hit list disguised as a prayer journal. Sister Jane, too proud of her education, borrowed her pen. 6 months of confusion. Brother Tom refused to give me contract for church tents. Took his cap, business to collapse. Pastor's wife thinks she's better than me. Used her scarf, marriage problems. Faith Wambui disrespected me about job, charger, and hair. Total lock for 1 year. There were over 40 names in that book. The pastor called an emergency church meeting the next morning. The evidence was presented. People whose names were in the book began sharing their stories, how their lives had fallen apart after lending Mama Praise something, how she'd prayed for them while secretly working against them. The church reported everything to the local authorities. But what crime had she actually committed? In Kenya, the law has a difficult relationship with spiritual matters. She hadn't physically harmed anyone. She hadn't stolen anything items were lent willingly. The case went nowhere legally. But socially, Mama Praise was finished. She never returned to that town. Her salon closed within a week. Her landlord evicted her. Her number was blocked by everyone who knew her. On Facebook and WhatsApp groups, her name became synonymous with betrayal. Her own family disowned her, saying she'd brought shame to their lineage. Some say she moved to a different county and started over with a new name. Others claim she went fully into darkness, becoming a mganga herself since her church cover was blown. A few people swear they've seen her in other churches, always volunteering, always helpful, always waiting to borrow something small. Faith's life didn't immediately get better. These things take time, but within weeks, things started turning around. Her car was fixed by a mechanic who found a simple issue the others had missed. Her marriage slowly healed as she and Martin went to counselling. Her performance at work improved. Most importantly, she could finally sleep. She burned the items that had been taken from her. Some of the other victims did the same. Others buried them at crossroads, completing the ritual in reverse. But here's what this story is really about. It's not about witchcraft or mganga or spiritual warfare, though those things are real in many Kenyan communities. It's about something far more common and far more dangerous. The person who pretends to love you while destroying you. The friend who smiles in your face while working against you. The mentor who prays for your downfall while hugging you. In Kenyan culture, we have a saying, "Not everyone who says amen to your prayers means it." We know this. We've lived it. We've seen the auntie who compliments your children while speaking evil about them. The church sister who offers to help while planning your embarrassment. The friend who borrows things and you never feel right afterward. Mama prays is fictional, but we all know a mama prays. Maybe she doesn't use red cloth and mirror pieces. Maybe her weapons are gossip, manipulation, and strategic betrayal. But the result is the same. She feeds on your downfall while positioning herself as your savior. So here's the lesson. Trust your instincts. If someone's prayers for you feel more like a curse, they probably are. If someone always wants to borrow personal items and never returns them, ask yourself why. If you notice that everyone this anointed person prays for seems to suffer more, that's not spiritual warfare, that is the warfare. Protect your peace, protect your energy, protect your belongings. And remember, the snake doesn't always hiss before it strikes. Sometimes it sings in the choir.